morning, ladies. This morning I'm talking about self-sabotage. And what does that really mean? Because I hear often people, the story is that we tell ourselves is, well, this is where I want to be. These are my goals. But I'm taking actions or not taking actions in alignment with that. And therefore, what's wrong with me? I must be broken. I'm self-sabotaging. And then that can bring on shame. So why am I not as good enough as anybody else? Why can't I get my act together? Why do I keep self-sabotaging myself? And that is a story we tell ourselves. But self-sabotage isn't really a thing. It can be, but often just what's happening is in the moment of choice, there are more perceived benefits than drawbacks. So for example, let's take eating. So I used to eat all the time when I was exhausted. And that was my story, what's wrong with me? Why can't I? Well, how can I get my act together in all these areas but not that area? And that story would play around, self-worth, good enough, shame. But really, when you look at that as a conscious choice, so in the moment of, eating something or not going to the gym, there are many more perceived benefits in the action and the non-action. And that's a very different story. So when you're conscious of the benefits, and that's sometimes where people get sticky because they don't see any benefits in what they're doing. But when we look deeply, there are more perceived benefits. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. No one moves a muscle without motive. So, for example, why am I not posting on social media? That might be the benefits in that moment to you is a subconscious fear of judgment. Or why am I eating that? Right? Why am I? It's because my body needs energy. Why am I not going out? Because there's a subconscious protection mechanism in there. I feel safer. I feel non-judged. I feel non-threatened. And then we can look under there to see what's under the hood. And it's many, many things in life where we perceive ourselves to be self-sabotaging. It's not really true. So what I invite people to do is just look at a different story. Or not look at the story, but look at making the conscious choice. What's beneath that conscious choice? And then balancing that emotion. And therefore being able to make different choices in the moment. So these are the sort of things that I talk about in our mastermind, our Game Changer Mastermind Forum. Now there's one on Monday morning, and what we do for the first hour is a business mastermind roundtable. So we roll up our sleeves and we get involved in each other's businesses and we solve real-time problems. And then the second hour is typically a 10-minute teaching around a concept like this. So on Monday I'm talking about self-sabotage. And then we move into a hot seat. So one of our members will put up their hand to actually do a live coaching session around whatever the issue is. So on Monday, one of the members has put up their hand to talk about weight. So it can be, it's a big thing, to talk about that in a hot seat. It's all confidential within the group. But if that's something that interests you, if you're interested in looking beneath the hood, if you hear yourself thinking, why have I got low self-esteem? What's wrong with me? Why am I broken? Why do I keep sabotaging? Then we invite you to come along and join us for a trial. So next one is Monday morning. We don't usually meet on a Monday, it's usually Tuesday. But it's Monday morning, 6 a.m. So if you're interested in coming along, can you please PM me? And we'll take it from there. Speak soon. Bye.